Come on, collective. It's 9:09 a.m. Look up Job 9:0 if you want. It's in the Bible. It's God's words. Job 9:9. About the Orion and the bear and the heavens, Pleiades, and the bear. Who do you think represents the bear? And I know we represent the eagle. You got the lion, you got the dragon. I think I know who the dragon is in the Bible, but it's also a beast system. And remember in Pulp Fiction, Zed is dead? Look up Zedekiah with Nebuchadnezzar. I think that's how you say his name. Book of Daniel. It all lines up with Neo-Babylon and BC. It's far back, far. Neon gods they made. Sound of silence. Confirmation. Can't be silent about these things. You know, it's about bringing the truth, standing in the truth, helping our youth. Because what kind of future will we have if we don't fix ourselves and help the youth? You know, it's not going too well. I thought I was going to ring out that tap-out bell, but nope. I got a second chance at life after taking my last breath. God come in and gave me a kiss. I think that was my ego death, and I rose into the fifth dimension. I mentioned those dimensions, right? There's no dim henchman in the fifth dimension. So as we try to release these energies, and I'm not calling it, you know, that's for the wicked. And who are the wicked? You have to decide on that one. I don't know, because it's all about the scales. Snake scales, harmonic scales, scales of justice, checks and balances. We got to balance things out. And as to get into a flow state where the number 8 is like an infinity, well, 6 below, 9 above, or even though 9, you know, when we start feeding what it is to do in God's words towards the heavens, banking our deeds in the heavens, all things will be added. The way we work, an honest day's pay is an honest day's work is an honest day's pay. That was Honest Abe. I mean, those words come out of Abe's mouth, so I don't know. We don't look at Abe as a god, but he got those words somewhere. You see how I'm seeing it now? And I'm not trying to be a jerk. All words are God's words. When they're straight, true. He doesn't like when his children are casting on a bad tone, because if you look at Secrets of Water, which I've been sharing this years, and I'm not saying I don't know who's looking at it, who's not. I know my family and friends could have cared less, and that's, maybe they do now. I don't know. But that's the thing, is we got to start caring. And as I do care, I do, and when I get things like this in the mail, and it breaks my heart, you know, when that Sarah McLaughlin video of the dogs and the song, my son used to say, "Change it, Dad, change it." He didn't like seeing it. Who does? But it reminds you of how much wickedness is in the world. So let's get rid of the wickedness, and I bet you things come back into a better balance. And yes, we do need to help these animals, but if we don't clean up the wickedness, it's just a continuous cycle of wickedness. See where I'm going with this? Oh, and I got my hat on backwards because it says, "In God We Trust." And that's a story. It brought me back to my grandfather when I was 10 years old. And he yelled at me, and I loved my family, my grandfather. He was so good. But I remember he yelled at me, and I was so upset because he told me not to have my hat backwards. He wanted it frontwards. And I didn't understand because all my friends were wearing, and my family, I remember this. Said, "Oh, he's old school, and they're not used to the fad like that." And I remember saying, "Well, I'll never be like that." And guess what? I was just like that. Because when these guys were wearing their pants and underwear and ass showing, I was like, how are you going to fight if someone punches you in the mouth and your pants drop down by your ankles? I don't know. I just didn't like it. So I guess I'm judging. I don't know. How do you guys think? What do you guys think of that? Judging, right? Well, I don't know. We got a Most High judge, and we got laws of the universe, and we got the laws down here that they keep bending and amending and breaking themselves. And I told them, we warned them many, many times. I got caught next week. And the week after that, and in July. These people are exhausting, but that's light work. The heavy work is trying to get God's children, God, thank you, God's children to wake up. I'm not saying they're not waking up. Around this area, I don't know what's going on because I don't see anybody. That's why I question reality. I don't know, but I see people out. I say hi, they say hi back, and I think the energy's starting to lift. They said this. It's starting to change. Changing the atmosphere, the environment. The environment is being attacked. I know this. From the waters to the ethers to the foods, our soil, our vessels. It's an attack on us all. So at attention, to pay attention, we can either be energy vampires or aware wolf. But you don't want to be a wolf in sheep's clothing. That's not like, you want to be fishers of men and women. And ambassadors, adore, cosmic gate, or adore you love. That's from above. That's a message. That's true. That's how I feel. I adore this planet. And bass. Bass, fisher of men, or music. Bass. I know. It's just, I'm humbly bringing these messages as I learn, so we can all start understanding. And at a 10, shun 10 commandments. We can't shun those 10 commandments. It's prescription for life. God put them in place so we could build his kingdom in heaven. And if we don't abide by that, that's not gonna, that's just going against God, our most high creator. And do we want, he's fixing this. I know he is. He's not flooding the earth. He's flooding the earth with his rays of light. And that's why they spray the ethers. They spray the chemtrails, trying to block out, trying to say that the global warming. Yeah. Wackadoodles. They're done. They're done. I know they're done. They're done ruling this. They can't come into the fifth dimension. The whole planet's going that way. So we all have a choice to go that way with the planet. But we have to get with it. Too legit to quit. Who's too double victory? Or is it sad deuces? Christ is the way and the one that won. That's our king. That's who we follow. Along with the 10 commandments, the law of one, and they should fall into place in this whole world. And then we join a galactic federation of worlds. I get it. It's, who would have knew, right? It's true. God don't lie. It's in the Bible. I don't know. I have people like, I don't believe in that galactic stuff. I get it. Okay. But it's true. So what are you going to say to that? I don't know. When they show up in the skies, I already seen them once, or maybe twice. Actually twice. So I just keep doing what Spirit asked me to do. Off to the enchanted forest, on the road again. And just like sharing messages with all of you. Peace. Hang glider. Spirit animal. The beauty in all things. Who created this? Wow, man, we build things, cars and buildings, but you know what? Someone built this, all this right here. Imagine that. Someone created all this for us. Imagine that. I imagine a lot of things these days. There's Ra, Hawk, clear blue skies, water above. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, intelligence. Thank you, Holy God. And gratitude. Hello, tribe members. You know how we do, the collective? How we do voodoo, hoodoo. I have no clue who's doing what to who, but I do have an idea. 9:44 a.m. I'm on top of the mountain, overlooking the water. The water's below, but I keep concentrating on the waters above, and I just got a phone call from Tayback Law because I had to fill out bunch of paperwork. A bunch of paperwork. And I did it. It took me over an hour to fill out all these forms for the Social Security stuff and all this stuff. And I sent it in. Well, they just called me. And I sent it in a month ago. And they were missing it, and they didn't get it. And I was like, whoa, wait. I said, I sent that over a month ago. I said, she goes, well, it might have come in. We don't know. So I was getting confused. And the more she said it, the madder I was getting. And I was like, I don't want my shadow side coming out, but it was coming out. And I said, why don't you go check to see if it's in, then call me back, and we could go from there. And she goes, well, it didn't come to us. It went to the Social Security Department. And I said, I said, okay. I said, well, you know what? I said, look, I'm not mad at you. I said, we know what we're doing. I said, Elon Musk, Kash Patel, Donald Trump, Robert F. Kennedy. We see what they're doing. So they can keep playing their games. You know, Christ went out like, look up Luke 9:44 and Mark 9:44. And, you know, Christ went out like a lamb. I know he's going to come back like a lion. Lord, on. These people just have no clue what's coming through for all of us to evolve. Stay up and blessed, because we are. Hi, collective. Me again. 9:55 a.m. Look up 9:55 in the Quran and the Bible. And Spirit wants me to bring messages. I brought all my books, not all. I brought half of them of when I was locked up and all the research that I did. So I think Spirit wants me to read a little bit. 3 acts of liberalism: intellectual, philosophy, and experimentalism. Quantitative, psychologically, behaviorism, Freudian psychoanalysis. Sigmund Freud, founder of psychoanalysis. Yeah, when I was in the mental hospital. Human beings move by unconscious instincts, desires into drives of images around them. Images around them. Image of God. That's who I want to pay attention to. And we all fell short of this, so just pleasure principle, reality principle. Healthy people would balance. Humans want pleasure, and reality is they can't always get what we want. Pleasure and pain. Ego, I am or I am, needs to be more aware of unconscious instincts. Liberals want to adjust citizens in race, sex, education, economics, planned economy. Liberals govern in plutocracy, an elixir, it's windy, or ruling class by the people in power derived from their wealthy wealth. The country or society governed by the wealthy. They constrain businesses, trust-busting agenda. In God we used to trust. Now who are we trusting? Governments, boards, set laws, and the economy with private industry that would work towards all of this? People would give government power, and government would give people rights. FDR said what our rights would be redefined by statesmen. Hear that again? FDR said what our rights would be. No, God said what our rights would be. Our founding fathers put in our Declaration of Independence. Quantitative liberalism. Creation of a welfare state. This is in a class that I took. New Deal objectives. Relief. 1929 stock market crash was a series of gaffes by the Federal Reserve, and that led to the Great Depression. How would the hidden hand provide relief? Through a series of government interventions, looking like government was the savior, when in fact they caused the effects. Federal Emergency Relief Act, 1935 to 1943. The hidden hand with a hand, hidden causes effects, and they act like they're the helping hand. Okay, that's like repeat, but the New Deal objectives: recovery, growing the economy, liberals believed they understood the science of economics well enough to stop recessions or depressions. Yeah, follow their science? Come on. They figured to grow an economy, they would need to control competition. They created boards and commissions. 1933, two major acts, National Industry Recovery Act, NRA, would regulate prices and markets in industry. An idea of the CEO of GE, 1922, there's a bunch of numbers. Large corporations like regulations and can work with it and can bar smaller businesses from competitions. See how their corporations are growing, America's big corp, and they're crushing the small businesses, people's livelihoods? We see it. Another act, Agricultural Act, 1933. The Secretary of Agriculture worked with the largest growers, and they became in favor to root out smaller growers. And that's how they control our food. Greed enticed regulations and favoritism. Through AAA, they issued price controls and marketing orders to order markets. Fed creates the big six regulatory boards and commissions, boards of a so-called experts in science, to work and produce and plan the economy. The big six commissions: the Interstate Commerce Commission, Federal Trade Commission, Federal Power Commission, Communications Commission, control what we get, MK Ultra, Mockingbird Media, Securities and Exchange Commission, the Civil Aeronautics Board. Point was for the government to work with industry. In the partnership, the government would be senior partners. Liberals prided themselves on rejecting cartels, yet they were building some in plain sight. Was just, wag the dog. In God we need to trust. The second New Deal, the Social Security Act of 1935. At the time, life expectancy was 59. There would be 49 workers for every one recipient expected, and most would never live to see Social Security benefits. Extended the extra monies to the new groups over time. 1935, Democrats created the National Labor Relations Board through the Wagner Act. The board went around and asked workers if they wanted to unionize. Fed agents would go to shop floors and ask if they wanted to unionize. If they said yes, they made sure they received an election. See how that works? This is when the union members exploded into growth. They gave power to the NLRB to oversee the 1938 Fair Labor Standards Acts, guaranteed a 40-hour work week, minimum wage, overtime, and child labor laws. 1941, 10.5 million unionized workers. In 1929, 75% of blacks voted Republican. The party of Lincoln, Honest Abe. Because of the Civil Rights Acts, blacks voted 75% Democrat at the end of the New Deal. Spirit, how far you want me to go with this? Liberals did not believe in absolutes. Who's absolute? Our father's absolute. They were considered nationalists. World War II and war in general required men to sacrifice. Absolutely. Give any soldier a weapon and tell him to go fight and die. He's got to fight and die for something. World War II took 400,000 Americans died. Liberals engaged mass propaganda through the FCC and constrained what people could say on the radio. They produced a series of documentaries of why we fight. A series of 7 informative films, the causes and events leading up to our entry into World War II. 1 out of 10 Americans lacked a consistent, favorable view of the war. It was that they were fighting. Ours to fight for the freedoms and the freedom of speech, to worship, want, and freedom to fear. The idea of liberalism appear to be opposed to two radical wings, left and right. Just more confusion. Communism on the left and fascism on the right. Equated business with fascism. So people turn to a strong man like Mussolini or Hitler to try to create equitable conditions in a society. So sigh, there's no tea, there's no truth in these people. They said the radical left and militant right really were the same. The horseshoe model. Both reunited to become the totalitarian opposition to the liberals that were vital center. God is the center, not Satan. Egos. looking to make liberals were friendly to businesses while communists were not. A very successful play by liberals. The idea of the horseshoe theory. We're Americans, instead of searching for some kind of great national good, they were only interested in their private profits. Ask not what your country can do for you, what you can do for your country. JFK. The Vietnam, Iraq, I've got so much here. I could keep going and going. Knowledge, wisdom, endless. But we got to concentrate on the present gift of this moment and for the atonement. And we're going to raise each other's vibrations as these other ones that are in offices and positions of where they forget what they're supposed to be doing for the people and allowing theft and just wickedness. We see it. And it's going to come to an end when Father finishes doing what he's doing. He's been doing it. I know this. So are we at the tail end? I think the seven trumpets, the tail end of the wickedness, and then it's the truth, and then it's the Antichrist, because anybody that can't love after the truth, is Antichrist. And it's not about the good and the evil, it's the love and the hate. So we got to try to get these people to understand, to come to the light, because, everybody deserves salvation. They all do. I'm not judging. God does that. That's it. That's the message. Peace. Hi, Collective. Message time. 10:10 a.m. Remember image. 10 commandments above, 10 commandments below. And today is June 12th, 2025. So that's a 6 month. 12, put that together, that's 3. And 2025 is 9. 369. Or 639. But I got I'm going through all my notes that I scribed when I was locked away. Spirits has me reading some. I'm going through it. And this was on March 23rd, 2025. I wrote, the sealed of Israel, Revelations 7, 2 and 3. I heard him say to the other angels, do not harm the earth or the sea or the trees until we have sealed the servants of our God on their foreheads. Mark of the beast, mentioned in Revelations 13, is often contrasted with the seal of God, representing a choice between allegiance to God and allegiance to the forces of evil. Ezekiel 9, 1 through 4. Those who sigh and groan over all the abominations that are committed in Jerusalem, essentially making them as righteous and grieved by the city's wickedness. Third eye communion. Mutiny or mute in the T. This was March 24th, 2025. Bullet points. All right. Palladian High Council of 7. Big event for all of humanity. Sharing on my wall and small clips on hailing our Mother Earth and the animals, the plant life. Quote, a lot of damage done to this planet and animals from us, the humans. Children also. Ancestors that feel like grandparents are rooting us on, and they're here to help us in spirit and guidance. Quote, so often we keep things inside of us, staying quiet, and like a cancer grows. Sound of silence. Circumstances asking me to speak up for others, voice of reason, and point out potential treason. I wait and pray and hesitate on if this is the right time to share. Don't run ahead of God. I could continue waiting or take a leap of faith. God is real. I know it. I seek hard and I stay patient, and in this practice, the blessings of moving forward with confirmation in the many different, subtle, and amazing ways. It comes, quoting the council, there will come a time we will return to our telepathic communication. Our heart center, connected to the soul, the core essence of us, will bring out heart to heart, soul to soul communication. The eyes speak. The heart speaks. Soul speaks. It's deep. Many paths to discover within ourselves and who we really are. We're God's children, and our galactic ancestors are angelic in the higher realms, higher dimensions. Our source, energy, is our prime creator, the unconditional love, and he co-creates with an amazing story. Maya Angelou quote, "Nothing worse than having a story and not telling it, especially if it's a story to help in the hopes of a better future." Metatron, holder of the sacred cube and master of the tree of life, mastering is just a matter of remembrance. Being mindful can help transform our world. Thank you, Spirit. All praise is always to my Lord and Savior and the Most High Council of Light. This beautiful planet, our ancestors. It's the message. Okay, Soul Tribe. It's 10:17. I keep bringing messages because every time I go off and I continue reading. So it's 10:17 a.m. Colossians 1:17. Through him all things hold together. Him. Vibration. Christ. Both. I'm going to read something here. It's notes. This is on March 25th, 2025. Ashtar and Sananda speak of watching down from above. They see the change in light on the new Jerusalem. Where is that? The New World? Indians didn't call their land the New World. They just honored it in spirit. To get back into the spirit and the heartbeat of America, the land of the free and the home of the brave. Texas, and these are just notes. Texas stops junk food being bought with SNAP. People going against me, a lot of people not liking me. Collective reads. In order to have peace, sometimes we have to go to war. Full armor of God. We have to fight, fight, fight. Bill Gates, the experiment with the Indians, not the Indians, the Indian people, in 2009. Clinton, and how the government did unethical tests on the citizens with radiation. Satan can't do anything until they tell you. A young Bill Clinton offers an apology to American citizens and their families. That's sad. Marina Abramovich, with her spirit cooking, parasite whistleblower, pleading high counsel. I don't know. I got so much here. Chemtrails, metals blocking the sun, claim to reverse warming effects. Australia having issues getting cash out of the banks, the ATMs. Rockefeller and his story, 318 billion, big oil, conquering the world. Prescott Bush, the truth can change you. Alert, the final battle for humanity. Dragon reptiles and Orions. Our foes exercise two massive psychological attacks on Earth's inhabitants. All of us, our conscience, we've all become controlled by the external influence. The many that came to Earth to help people break free, transition, also found themselves entrapped in duality. We all fell trapped to this. That's why it's Christ. And the numerous manipulations in the consciousness and the body too. We happen to lack the unity for prompt and productive work. Quoting, it's not true to say that the earthly alliance completely failed, but the disagreement that arose among us made the work of the non-earthly alliance much more complicated, whose opportunities are limited at the force of the fact that at representatives' work, not at physical level, but at the subtle one. Actions needed adjusting, along with our mistakes being corrected, quoting again to the Galactics, enormous regret have led to death of hundreds of thousands of people. The unforgivable sluggishness of their actions have led to the bloodshed between the Slavonic nations and the roots of the deep state, penetrated too deep in this power of institution and state organizations of leading countries of the world. They stopped these deep state ops with the starting of a nuclear war. I've said this, I've been saying this. The crucial turning point for Gaia. It will be the mass disclosures of the deep state's crimes. The galactic message, I quote, as now and as ever, they are in need of support by the revived part of Earth's population. We all have parts to play. That's why it's important to wake up. That's why I push hard. I don't get much sleep. No sleep for the wicked. I had to question it. I said, whoa, but no. And I reset myself, and Christ didn't get to rest carrying that cross. That's what I focus on. I focus on it. I keep pushing forward because his will is going to be done. That's it. That's the message. I'm passionate for this. Peace. Soul Tribe, 10:38 a.m. You know, and you know how we do. Go 38, 888 Lionsgate, or go to Romans 8:38. You should really look into that and let it sink in. It's all the Bible quotes. You got 10:38. You got 10 commandments, but you got 1, 2, the law of one, the one that won. That's not like, well, I did come on to bring that stuff. 8:38 Romans. Look into it. It helps. Soul food. Get your conscience into believing, because we're gonna, you know, and into prayer. Yeah, I was coming down off the mountain over here in the Enchanted Forest, you know, and I seen a turtle. And then I got the message because I was looking at the turtle. I was looking, slow and steady wins the race. Yep. I say, you know, whatever it is, it is. As long as I'm doing what I need to do for God's will, I'll keep pushing forward. You know, some tiresome work, but you know, many people are suffering. So it ain't tiresome when you concentrate on what Christ did, what he went through and did for us. So yeah, I'm not going to complain. You know, I pushed through for all of who? Us. All of us. Each and every one of us. That's it. That's the message. Peace. I collective 10:43 a.m. Spirit realm 143 is Ra. I love you. Hold on. I'm trying to get a flag that's in the street, but there's all cars coming. Can't leave that there. See? Colors that never run. Shouldn't be on the ground like that. No way. But I was already walking through, you know, Spirit said, you know, this is how I see it. If God knows how many hairs are on our head, and if I'm an ambassador for this planet, which I am, and I see this trash, I'm picking it up. I've been picking it up. I pick it up. And, you know, I don't have to share my beliefs or what I'm doing, but God said, your book, New York, will be a New York best time seller. I already know this. And to all the people that drink beer and sodas out of cans, don't forget that's aluminum. Tin Man has his heart missing because he's not connected to God. When we lose our connection to our higher self, we become programmed and uncaring. It is the truth. And we might feel that, no, of course we care. But it's a different type of, it's unspeakable joy. You know? It's the fascination of life itself. Now you gotta, I'm a fanatic. I'm a fanatic over this stuff. God, the Sacred Heart's on fire. That's it. It's the truth. So, you know, sin doesn't condemn us, but if you're doing something in gluttony, you know, you're going to be disconnected from our higher self, and you become uncaring. You might feel that you care, but you're really thinking you're caring. You're really not caring the way you could care. Because when you care about God over all things fall into place. That's it. On Gaia's place. Here. Peace. Hey, collective, 11 o'clock on the button. Don't mind me, I was just running. Benjamin Button. You know, when you're working with Spirit and these thoughts come through, you know, every time, you know, these thoughts come in and they, you know, get you to push yourself. And you see, you're tired, you're looking at the hill, and then you get it in your head, is that going to be your heartbreak hill? I don't know who's telling me these things. But, and my backpack was scratching my, you know, I was like, oh. Christ didn't complain carrying that cross. I know this. So, are we going to limit ourselves? Are we going to push it to the outer limits? That's how it come through, and that's why I keep sharing with all of you. Someone's got to push us into these things, and every time I think I want to, try to say, no, Valhalla, he's only doing it for our betterment. He's the perfect father and trainer. We're in training. When we get into the T, we got to train. Can't forget Ra and where we are in TRAIN. And then G. God. That's it. Peace.
I have lifted you from the darkest depths, forgiving every misstep you've made along the way.
Sure has.
My love for you isn't fragile or conditional. It's deep and unshakable,
So deep.
shaped by every flaw and every battle you face. I see your humanity, the struggles that weigh you down, and instead of turning away, my heart swells with endless compassion. I don't wish for you to suffer without cause, and when storms come knocking, don't mistake me as their source. In those moments of trial, turn your gaze toward me, bow your heart in faith, and let my mercy envelop you like a healing balm. Each dawn, I whisper softly to your soul, reminding you that you are cherished.
It's just so true. He's there for us.